Welcome to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We are so excited to have you joining us on this journey where we explore different ways to empower your soul, whether it's healing in your kitchen or all the way up in the corporate world. Come with us as we look into different ways to heal your mind, body, and soul. Hey everyone, and welcome to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast, now with video. I've upgraded my life, and Natalie's the first one I'm guinea pigging these on, so I'm very excited to introduce her. So, Natalie Viglione, I have to say it the Italian way, guides others through ancient wisdom and healing as a vibration medicine practitioner, combining her expertise as a flower essence alchemist, root cause protocol consultant, and master herbalist apprentice. Her healing work explores the transformative space where dimensions meet, weaving ancient wisdom with modern protocols to address every aspect of being physical, emotional, and spiritual. She's the founder of Awakening Magick and the Disrupt Now podcast, and which I'm going to drop that link in the show notes so you can find her, but it's Awakening Magick with a K.com. And together with her husband, Mark, they have created the Forge and Flow Sanctum that unites their complementary healing journeys. How awesome is that? They combine their unique expertise in vibrational medicine and a shared vision to help others retain vitality by honoring ancient wisdom while addressing modern challenges, creating a sanctuary where true healing can flourish. And you can check out the sanctum at forgeandflow.org. So we're going to join Natalie on her quest to celebrate the divine spirit as well as to awaken the organic magic, ushering forth a new era of enlightenment and healing. So a big welcome to the show, Natalie, and I'm excited to have you.
Thank you, Catherine, and thanks for having me in the first video guest.
I know. You. I'm guinea pigging all day today, so I hope they all work. But you know, if everybody's listening to this, you'll know it did. So there is so much to unpack in that little introduction. I feel I'm pulling to the flower essence. So, what pulled you to working with flowers and herbs and the wonders of nature?
Let's see. Well, I this there's a moment I think that comes into my awareness, like very like just vividly, as if I'm sitting in that chair like right now. So when I was growing up, I grew up in a really rural, random, in the middle of nowhere place we didn't have like a farm, but we had tons of animals, and we were lucky enough to have like a lot of chickens, for example, which I adore. And I promise this is connected to flowers.
It's okay,
But
I like chickens too.
so I would take my little chair, like I had a little chair, and I would take my little chair out and I put it in front of the chicken coop, like I was the guardian of the chicken coop. And I would literally guardian the chickens and the ducks and all the things that were in there. And so I mean, and I was young. I was like two or three. It was the toddler chair, the tiny little cute little chair. And that has just been me, since I was, born. This deep reverence and connection into the earth and into nature and with animals. And um, my fundamental like adoration for plants and flowers really began like on a spiritual level, like a transmission frequency level, really was completely kicked off when I got like right around the time I got really ill, which was like in 2016, 17. Ironically, at the same time that I left corporate to start my own mission. And so it was just that, which a lot of us, anyone with that essence of healer, of shaman, of, we often go through these tumultuous quests of our own to heal ourselves, which makes sense for all the reasons, but also, it's terrifying in the same right because it's just difficult sometimes to manage all those things. But I really felt that, bringing flower essences and really, um, I began to see that all these things are like stargates of frequencies. And when we think about what frequencies are connecting into our field, the spirit of flowers just, it like overwhelmed me with this beauty and magnificence that, and I just like, when I delved in, I mean, like, I'm in and I'm becoming a master. Oh, I'm like in. I'm not gonna like fiddle over here. No, we're gonna dive full into the deep end.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's really where it's always been there, but it was really ignited within that whole healing quest and that connection.
I can so relate to that because when I was younger, I always wanted to be Pocahontas. I wanted to go run,
Mm.
barefoot through the wilds, go sit under the mother willow tree, go connect with the animals. It's just like you said, it's this internal pull. Like you really want to connect in with Mother Earth, and and it's like exactly like you said. I had similar. I was in like, well, not in corporate, but I had my own company. And that's when I went through my spiritual awakening, which was actually the break apart of that company. So it's really interesting how spirit puts things into our lives for a reason. And it's always perfect timing. It's always divine timing. It's always exactly how it's meant to be. So then what kind of pulled you into vibrational medicine? Was that at the same time or was that at like a separate point?
Well, it was very intriguing. My mentor in the Master Herbalism, which included the flower essences and included Chinese medicine and included the First Nations and indigenous tribe medicine and Druidic, I would say, medicine, because he comes from the same lineage of as I do, and he's actually in Canada. Um, he he really, so that vibrational medicine aspect, he really ignited that angle of seeing it, because I realized, what was part of my biggest learning lesson is, while I've always been a very spiritually connected person, in my own way, like no religious frameworks. In fact, I delved into lots of things and I was like, nope, 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 nope. And just kind of went through this long list of things, but it was always my own centering around that. But um, the one thing that when I remember when I would just, I was, it was almost like I hit a brick wall, almost quite literally, from a like feel not feeling good sense. And when I hit that brick wall, it kind of shattered that reality of like almost forgetting all the layers and levels, all the vibrational layers and levels. And so I realized I got really honed in on the physical. And I was like, but wait a minute. There's all these, there's the entire light body of our being is, and so I realized that there's often this either or in healing journeys. Like someone focuses really a lot on the physical or focuses just on the like ethereal, if we will. But what I saw through this all is that the vibrational medicine aspect is the most important, because we have to deal with all of it, and we deal with it, or we assist in different ways, because it's like you don't work with your light bodies in the same way that you're going to detox your liver, for example,
Hmm.
purifying, cleansing, all of these aspects. I got very pulled into remembering it's every vibrational layer and level, and that is how we heal faster and get to the core faster, to balance, to harmonize. So it was that entire experience. And then, through the lens of my Dr. Terry Willard is his name. And he wrote an entire book on vibrational medicine. And I just like exploded with memories. And I call them rememberings, because there's like more than
Same.
memories. It's encoded DNA going bing. So yeah.
Yeah. I fully understand what you're talking about because it's like, because I did a lot of work on my past lives or parallel lives, whatever you want to call them,
Right. Yeah.
and when you do the work there, often you'll just get the gift reawakened because it's part of that soul fragment. It's encoded in your energy field, exactly like you said, in the vibrations of what made you up. Because a lot of people, they go, oh yeah, your DNA is made up of X and Z. It's like, actually, no, it's made up from your parents, but it's also got your soul imprint on it, which is why you have your divine blueprint. And then it's also impacted by the experiences that you have in your life, because then that will shape how your DNA expresses itself, which they've proven now with epigenetics, and it's just really interesting, like when you take that step back and people, exactly as you said, they miss, you need to work on all layers, because if you only work on the physical, yes, that changes one aspect of your energy body, but it doesn't change all those aspects. So my question when you were talking was, how does she do it? Because obviously everyone has a different way to tap into the vibration. So what's your kind of process look like?
Yeah. And that it's interesting how that is always like this ever unfolding magic, isn't it? Because it's like every time something else is awakened, it's just like, oh, ooh, that's a new magical thing to utilize. But the framework, I really come from this lens of the sacred soul, really tapping in, like we were just talking about, all those vibrational, simultaneous, linear, however we want to look at all of those aspects. And this living light library, people say Akashic records, I like to say living light library because it's an ever change. I don't know, I also try not to utilize a lot of words that have been distorted in new agey kind of
New
stuff.
age
So
spirituality. Hmm.
yeah, yeah, exactly, like religious frameworks that put kind of dogma into things. And so so first, I do a reading, but I don't like to say like it's mediumship or anything like that. It's really like encoding, listening, hearing all these layers that a human maybe not be seeing. That is the most difficult part. Like when we're on a healing quest, is like we can know what doesn't feel good. We can know what we want, but it's the layers in between that maybe we aren't seeing that are, causing these ailments or these symptoms or whatever, or dysregulations to show up in the body. And it's also the same with animals, very much the same. And so first, really looking at the living light library, where's the ancestral roots from the earth bloodline? Where are the cosmic roots coming from? Where is this person angling? How are they angling in to this existence? And then really looking and picking apart these components that these are, it's like, when there's dust on our astral body, those are emotional stuck points. We think that we dealt with X, but actually, it's for me, I'm looking at that layer saying, no, there's some specks here. And then it's always connected to some kind of event, mostly just massive stress caused by something, and so I'm kind of like reading those dusty points where we need to get that shelf all clean and shiny so that everything can begin to flow more openly. And then from there, once I address those aspects, I really look at the where are the minerals, where are there dysregulations happening in the body that isn't turning on enzymatic processes. Because we forget that while we are magic, we are also kind of like an intricate system that has to work. And this gear over here has to turn this on, and then this on, and then this on, and then this on, and this. And if one thing is like, I can't do this anymore, sorry, then that causes a jamming in other parts. So it's literally taking us and like looking at it from, how do we turn things back on and clean things out? Purify in the most like magnificent purification process that we can ever do.
I got this image then when you were talking of like a train line, right? Because a train, a train line has, its sleepers and things. But if one of those sleepers is out, the train won't glide smoothly to get from A to B. So it's like that was the image that Spirit just gave me
Oh,
then. And I was like, oh, that's a really good analogy.
yeah, that's totally it. It's totally
Mm,
it. Yeah, what
yeah.
I started to, and blending, not everyone wants to do this, but I also, got trained in reading blood tests and hair mineral tests because I think sometimes when you see data telling you the same story that just by intuitively talking about it, it brings it to another level for many. And again, some are like, no, I've done every test known to man. I'm so done with that, which is usually a case, especially in chronic ailments and things. But, there's another level of like, yeah, I actually would like it to see that I would like to see it that way. And the really intriguing thing is it always tells the exact same story. But it's again, you're seeing it physically going, oh, okay. Like, okay. And now we have like targets, directions in which we can move by. Like there's a green optimal level. Just let's get as close to that as we can. We're never going to be perfect. We live here in this realm, which that's a whole other podcast episode, isn't it? To talk about all the toxic.
Yes.
So,
Yes, it really is.
most of us are already pretty aware of all that. Most, not all, but it's a direction. It's never like getting stuck in the numbers either. That's another element. It's like, how do we move away from stress and into more balance?
Yeah, and I think that what you said there is like not getting stuck in the numbers is so important because often people will then get that becomes their story. So they're like, oh, I've got this going on, I've got this going on, I've got this going. And then they don't realize they're actually making that their identity and then vibrating at that level as well, and that can be part of the battle too because we get stuck in those stories and then we're vibrating in those stories and then we forget to step back out, rather than, oh, this is happening for me for a reason and I should be curious and I want to know why. And this is why I'm going through this. It's like, why is this happening to me? And then you get sucked into that victim mindset, right?
Yes, and knowing that you know what, we all get there. We've all been there. I mean, there were times when I was first going through all of the things that there were days when I was like, I don't know. Like I don't know what you really want from me anymore. Like don't know what to say. I'm not doing anything. Or then I got, really like militant towards myself going, you can only do this and you can only eat this and I was like, "Oh my god, now I'm causing more stress to myself." I mean, it's that perfectionist all these and it's like it just on every layer and level you just keep breaking yourself down further in a positive way. Seeing where these rigid, that's been my biggest I'm very rigid like I will only do this because this is good for me. And it's like, no, where's your play? So
I love it.
moving through those moments.
I feel like we're like kindred souls here, Natalie. I'm like, yep, I can relate to that. And then you dive so hard into it, you end up in burnout because you forget to bring in your passion and you forget to bring in the joy and the fun, and nothing's refueling your tank. And even if it's like, I have to do this, divine or spirit or God or universe, whatever, whoever you like listening to, whatever you resonate with, just slot it in there. Don't lose this. But you just, you're just like, oh, I've got to do this. And it's like, actually, no, I'm just going to feel into, where I need to be and what I need to do. And I don't know if you're the same, but for me, I intuitively, do I want to eat? No. Okay, I'm not eating today. Maybe I'm fasting. Do I want to go have, some ice cream? Yes. All right, I'll suffer the consequences later. But right now, my soul wants it. And yeah, and at the same time, you're making a conscious choice and the repercussions and what that might
Yeah,
do to your body, and you've got to
yeah,
decide, like, do I want to feel that way or don't I want to feel that way? And we've all got free will, we've all got the ability to choose. In the end, you're the one that's accountable to yourself.
really. Exactly. Yes, and I think that is the maybe a huge underscore point is this flexibility. Um, it's like there's this fine line, and it's like we got to teeter in between the fine lines to dance. It's a sacred dance of figuring out where, like, there's moments where I've gone and like, no, you know what? I'm gonna go have fun. Let's go have some pizza, and then I really like it was not like okay. So I was like, I'm not gonna do that again. That one's off the shelf, but let's try something else, something, more let's fun, just not that place, or whatever. And finding that perfect rhythm for ourselves is so important. Because if we are, again, that too rigid or too flexible, we're not that those, again, it's not harmony. And so if we dance sort of in that middle, and kind of go over here for a little bit and then like go over here for a little, it's like we can figure out a rhythm that does well for our body and for our vitality. And we're not, cutting off our life force further by doing the things, but realizing that since we're here, there is no, at this point, 100% pure way of living. And just being like, and we have to accept that. And okay, that took me a while. I will not lie about that. Like, that wasn't easy for me. I was like, no, we can make it. We can make it pure. We can just live in a bubble. And I was like, no, 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 we can't.
I think we've all been through that stage where we're like, no, I'm just going to stay in my house and protect myself from everything, but then it's like, well, then why are you here? You still have to live. You still have to have those human experiences. And if you don't go out and have them, spirit will turn it up when you do. you know?
Totally. And while I think many of us either remember or feel in any way like there were timelines that we may have been a part of, that where we were in a cave because like literally we had to be, or we had to be in the little cottage at the end of the forest. This is how I've had this vision of my in the
Or
crazily
hiding in the
witch at the end of the
forest.
forest. Yeah, yeah, because literally otherwise there's genocide to be met. So we're in a time now where that isn't helpful. Hiding isn't helpful for anybody, including ourselves. That doesn't help anything heal, doesn't help anything move forward, doesn't help anything in the unification aspect make progress around that unity consciousness. So while we all, probably many of us, long for that, that's not why we're here right now. And so it really does, I think this is where I've seen a very specific line to healer and the word warrior, which actually means protector and guardian. So protector, guardian, and healer, it's one of the same, because it takes so much bravery, it takes so much courage for all of us to continue to show up every single day. Like you, 5 a.m. your time, we're having this conversation, like this takes a lot of bravery. It really does. And I hope on some level that, we are honoring our divine spirits in that way. That's literally why I created Awakening Magick, is to like honor that. Like,
Yeah.
revere yourself for doing those things. Don't forget that, because I just I've realized over these many many years that, now in my 47th year, how many years I spent in my early 20s and 30s like not really caring about my, not that I didn't care about myself, but I was not anchored in my body. So I didn't actually love my body. That was a huge, massive component to this all, is finding reverence for matter, because it matters.
It does. It really does. And there's so much you said there that I was like, oh my goodness, she's speaking my soul story. Because I like did this meditation, I met my soul parents, and they said,
Mm,
you're here to heal without hiding. That is what they told me. So it was so powerful. And I was like, wow, it's just like you've given my soul permission to come out of the cave or to come out of the woods and to
yeah.
actually, like you said, and then one of my other parallel lives, one of my soul fragments. She is a warrior. So I actually, when I was working with a practitioner in the Akashic Records, but the like Living Light Library, that's what you called it. So when I was working with her, she's like, no, you can't, you have to strengthen the connection with her because you need the warrior essence. You need that protective fighter, because you're going to go out and you're going to challenge and trigger people because this is what this does. Even with your work of coming back to the body, it triggers people because we've been so conditioned. Oh, I have a headache. I'm not going to ask questions why that headache might be there. I'm just going to have a tablet and numb the symptoms of it. Or, my knee really hurts. I'm going to go to the doctor and see what's going on rather than talking to your knee. And I know that sounds crazy to some people, but you actually listen. There's a message there as well.
Totally. Yes. I mean, I think one of the most I have this divine spirit activation. One of the things in the packages is I literally go through every organ, every tiny little essence in the body from the top, from the bottom up. And that practice changed everything. It was like seeing, oh my God, the magnificence of what this is. I mean, I can hold reverence for animals and plants and trees all day long, but for the human essence, oh my God, like it floored me. I mean, I was already doing a detox, so I was actually doing a liver cleanse and I was doing a coffee enema, so I was already on the floor. But, tears were just, I was just flooded with this, like, like literally that the awe part of awesome. Like it hit me. This is years ago now, but that that was like the full anchoring that I really, for me needed. And I think, it can help a lot of us because a lot of us, when we're in our, a lot of us that come in and sense, and we're sensitive to all this stuff, and we have a very different, from the time that we're born, which, is certainly my experience. I was born like 2 months early, so, barely didn't make it, really. Many of us have these kinds of crazy stories, and crazy experiences. And so each time, we work through those things, what we're doing is like, it kind of takes us out of our body a little bit more. Was a workout fiend. I was kind of like a work hard, play harder, in corporate world. And that almost just, I mean, that destroyed me. It didn't destroy me, but it felt like it did. And that is a very common uh practice. Work hard, play harder. It's like, oh, it couldn't be more opposite of what is truth. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
there's so much
that,
conditioning to unpack there, and I feel that would be another
yeah,
episode in itself as well. So,
totally. Yeah.
the conditioning of the human slave. No, so there we go. We will have to have another conversation, I think. So maybe not on this platform. Yeah,
Exactly. That's
exactly.
a whole other one too,
I
cell
know,
connections.
exactly. uh, Now I'm curious. It's like in the back of my head. It's like ask it, ask it. How did you come to then intertwine what you do and work with your husband? This is very exciting because I feel this is where I'm going to be in the future. So,
Interesting. Yes. So I'm going to drop, a title which I think has a lot of misinformation around it. But, my husband and I are twin flames. We could say divine union. We are beloveds, if we will. And my, the female going out and finding them, it was the whole thing. Like, I literally moved 3,000 miles away with my doggy and my clothes. That was it, from San Francisco to New York City, like all across the country, to find him. And we've been together for 14 years now. But what was really intriguing is last year, 13th year of our being togetherness, and in the 8th year of us being married, we, all of a sudden, it was like, it, it, it was like, Mark, my husband named Mark. He was going through this underworld journey of like getting through enmeshment and all kinds of things with, familial issues, whatever. And then all of a sudden, it's like, it just went, it all unwound. And then in 1 year, like it was just like he became, he had been working for years to get to that stage, 5 years to be exact, or at that time maybe. But he got into martial arts, and he got into Qigong and Tai Chi, which we both actually are very into. But he took it so as far as he's like, I'm going to get certified as a practitioner. I was like, oh my God, we're here. Like, okay, it's happening. So he became, he got all of his stuff last year. And then it was just like, all of a sudden, this whole forge and flow aspect came into play. And here we are, we're now like creating it. And then we also got land, and we are building our home, well, trying. And in that home, we're calling it One Song Grove, we're going to build a mini, like, sanctum, a place for people to come heal, but not just people, animals, fur babies, because we're very content being dogs and cats live longer. It's a huge thing. So that's all commencing, and this is our 9th year of being married, so it's a completion year.
And
It's
yes, I was
all
going to say end of a
happening
cycle, new things.
exactly. And so in the next couple of months, we'll be in, on the land, in the things, doing our things. It's been, magical, difficult, long. It's been arduous at times, because it's like, when I really feel like it's like it's a helix. And it's like we're kind of going like this, and then, the twin flame, the divine union thing is like, one goes up here and the other one's like, hey, can you help me? And you're like, then this one goes down here, and you pull them up. So you're always on this like push and pull, helping evolution. That's what literally the experience is for, but it's also to really anchor these energies here into this earth again, into this plane, light body again. And so it can be, but we're spiraling together. So we've been on this path, and now it's a spiral, and it's really magical. Like, when I sit back and pull myself back, there's another awe moment of like, wow, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
this is exciting.
it's amazing. And I love your vision and how, you're incorporating the fur babies, because people don't realize how much our pets have been sent to us with pure unconditional love, and that they're there for a reason, and that they'll sacrifice themselves to protect us, or so that we can learn a lesson. And a lot of people don't actually realize that, and how, it's like, oh, but like this stray cat just walked into my life and now it's like my pet. It's like, divine plan. There's more to
Exactly.
you that you can see. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. There's that animal connection, just we have, and I just want to see more of them thrive and live as long as they are supposed to, which obviously is like a divine plan for seeing that happen to humanity too. We've taken on such programming around what age does. Like, oh, it's just
Yes.
age. It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Nope,
It-
that isn't
It's
true.
It's funny because I've interviewed quite a few amazing women who set into their stride in their late 50s, early 60s, and they said it's not about age. And one of them actually wrote a book counteracting that because she said we got to stop thinking that you get over 40 and it's all downhill from there, or you get to your 50s and then that's it. It's like no, and it's funny because I used to this person pops in mind, and she used to say to me that she was in her 50s and she said, these have been the best years of my life. She goes, my kids have grown. I'm very independent. I'm fine financially wise. She's like, I feel like I have the freedom to truly be me because I haven't got all these other roles and expectations. So exactly like you said, we put this caveat on age. And it shouldn't be that way. Like my homeopath, she's 82 and she can still make me cry. She's so strong, like, because she does other things. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. I'm like, I want to be like you. And I said, why are you still working? And she looked at her hands and she said, when I wake up one day and I can feel there's no more healing left, then I know I'm done. She goes, but I'm not there yet. And I was like, wow, like how powerful. And, you know, at that age, I'm like, I want to be like that. That's what I want to be like.
Exactly. Exactly. And we should be. We should be. This conversation around mineral levels in the body really was pushed into my awareness through my own journey, realizing that even in the natural healing world, I kept getting into this place. I became a case study for natural healers. I was like, I guess there's more to this story. So I'm going to say, okay, well, why is this happening? And taking it on as like, that's my quest. I need to figure out the why. And it led down these pathways into, okay, well, if we can get the mineral levels in our bodies functioning to the right, more, I should say, more optimal levels, then our body doesn't age in the same way. So it's literally all connected to all of that. It's just, where is there dysregulation? Where is there, parts that are dysfunctioning that can just, if it gets what it needs, it's like putting the perfect little recipe in there and it's like, oh, thank you. That's all I needed. A little oil over here, now we can get going. Let's go, It's like, and that is this process of turning things back on and on. And so you can imagine, like, when your body let's just, the metabolic process is literally making and using energy efficiently, and then bringing, like, having the exhaust system working perfectly so that you can make energy and then let go in the proper rhythm, sacred rhythm way. And that's really where, there's so much magic to be unpacked just in that alone. But the whole metabolic thing it is extremely profound, extremely complex, but it is really sort of simple if we just break it down to, like, give the body what it needs, and every body is truly going to be unique in that way. And stuff starts working and your vital life force just starts operating and you're like, wow, yeah, I feel
Yeah,
amazing.
exactly. And then you're
Yeah,
in flow, right? Because it's like the extra energy that it was taking to make your system balance, to make your system function, is not needed there. So all of a sudden you have excess energy to do things that you are really passionate about and that you love, and then you can go into that flow state.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And as we start to finish our time together, Natalie, I feel like we could talk all day, but we have to finish up. So if you could change or heal something in the world, what would it be?
Hmm. Yeah, I love that question. And the greatest vision um is related to this. If humanity heals faster and faster, meaning realizing that healing needs to take place, the purification needs to take place, and we're moving in that direction. And there's more people turning that on or restoring that, if we will, as they're remembering to celebrate their divine spirit within them. That's where all the magic is. That's where everything lies. Then I feel that when that happens, it actually automatically triggers the remembering of, we're here as guardians of this earth. We're here to treat this earth and all of its living creation with absolute reverence, respect, honor, to have integrity, to live in truth, to, live as nature, and to utilize our wisdom and our knowledge to share with others so that we can keep this generationally going now forevermore. And then that places us back into that divine space where we're actually part of the universal stream of life. That is like getting in total touch. I just love the word magic, because I really feel that is magic. Because if that can happen, then that vibration trickles out faster. And I kind of see this trickle. It's like this, the rock in the on the lake that just has the ripples that just keep extending and just doesn't stop. I feel like that's what's being created right now, and that is the greatest vision that I hold.
Yeah, and that's so needed and so beautiful. And I don't think people realize how powerful it is just to work on themselves and that ripple that can vibrate into life as well. So where
Yeah,
can they
yeah,
find
yeah,
you?
yeah. Yeah, well, forgeandflow.org. We are, depending on when things roll out, but we're building the wait list, and then we're going to be launching this year to build the sanctum, or to have people actually come in through the doors. But we will have like a local regional aspect to this too. We're in Eastern Tennessee, in the US, and Awakening Magick with a K, uh, .com is the other spot. So those two places are the best places.
Beautiful. And thank you so much for this journey, Natalie. I feel like I've just met a kindred spirit on the other side of the world. I love
And
it.
I know we are on the other side of the world too.
I know exactly.
Amazing.
And I'll make sure that everything's in the show notes. If anyone wants to connect with you, they can 100% find you. And yeah, thank you so much for being on.
Thanks, Catherine.
Thank you for listening to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We have so much love and gratitude that you have taken the time out of your day to empower you on your healing journey. The views shared by the person being interviewed might not necessarily reflect that of the host and should be used at your own discernment. Trust what resonates for you and follow your heart and soul guidance. If you have any underlying medical conditions or mental health issues, please consult with your healthcare provider before pursuing any of the recommendations. Likewise, you can always contact the person being interviewed to find out more information. This can be found in the show notes. Remember to activate, align, heal, empower, and find love in everything that you do.